is really where it happens for us in an emotional way and a value way that touches my heart, at least, and my passion. And that's the extension of the educational possibilities that we offer for students in high school and college age that want to know a little bit about this industry. And it's more than just television, it's media in general that you can take away from this place. And growing up, I was one of those kids growing up in this area, and I know what's missing and what was missing in my own education, and I'm trying to fill that gap in everything that I do in terms of training and career training and creating a reality setting of what this industry is all about. So students that were like me back then can come to a place like this and really get pretty much a real-world version, a micro version of it, but a real-world version of what it's like to work in this business. They learn about the equipment, they learn about the environment, they learn to speak the language of this equipment and this occupation. And we do that in a way that is friendly and supportive and nurturing, and at the same time we try to create that real world angst and anxiety and adrenaline that comes with this business.
Corinne, Jimmy spoke about some real world experiences that occur here at Fort Village Studio, and maybe in a little bit of a smaller manner than a bigger studio. What are some of the functions here that you've learned over the years and when you worked here as a student?
Well, it's definitely the kind of structure where it follows the real world in that you kind of earn your stripes, you move up, you start out literally just watching and seeing how it all comes together. You start doing graphics, you take a camera, you might start technical directing a show. It's definitely, those are the, very much the things that you think of learning, the technical skills. But I think, as Jimmy touched on, it's not even as much about those technical skills. It's really the idea of working as a team. It's about, meeting new personalities, working with a diverse crew and sort of learning from each other. I think it's just a place where you kind of learn how to be yourself, removed from that school environment, removed from a family environment. It sort of takes on a workplace, and I think it really trains you for the real world.
And Kevin, in any given time through the years that we've been in existence, now 15 years, we've had about 25 students that have been very active on our crews. And they're all the names that you see in the credits. Most of these people are 15, 16, 17, 21 years old in that area that are running the equipment and learning the crew positions. And they are getting a big leap, a big head start if they want to pursue this both in college and as a career afterwards. And that's what it's all about. Anytime you can give yourself a little edge up and add to the percentage of your chance of success, that's what we're giving them in these programs that we have here.
Corinne, are there anything specifically that drew you to this program as a young student? Were you interested in film and TV, or did you happen to come to Fort Village Studio looking for something to do, and it morphed into a career in television?
I think I was definitely more just kind of interested in what was happening here. I had a theater background, and I think initially getting in, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to come on and host the show. I'm going to, be on camera. And basically when I got here and I saw all there was to do behind the scenes, that was kind of the first time I really knew that was even a career opportunity. And that really, for me, was, a bug that bit me, and I've stuck with it really since then.
And once again, she's touching on something that comes back to my youth, and that's, I was passionate about media, I was passionate about radio, television, music, but I didn't have that link in my mind, at least, and it wasn't being exposed to me, that there is a career and there's a pathway to get there. And if you don't know about it, well, it just seems daunting to try to break into this business. But there is a way to do it, and we do know the formula to increase that chance of success. And we try to present that to kids at age 15 and follow them all the way through to choosing a good school that's a feeder of the industry, and even helping them into getting their first job.
So in the prior segment, we spoke with the Explorers, and we touched upon how there were other responsibilities and skills that were learned by the Explorers. And you don't necessarily need to want to become a firefighter or work in TV or radio, but there are other skills that students have learned throughout the years working here at Fort Village Studios. What are some of the things that you've seen in a growth of the young people in Floral Park?
Well,
than the
aside
villagers?
from learning the equipment,
Mm-hmm.
and luckily a lot of students today are pretty technically savvy, and it doesn't take them long to catch on to the equipment. It is a new world, it's a new environment, it's not like your home computer and your home programs. But when they do catch on, they catch on pretty quickly, and we teach them that, and that's never a difficult part of it. But there is a language of this business that has to be learned, and even more so, their first interaction may be at Four Village Studio to work with people. I mean, side by side, working with a crew of people of various ages. They're working with senior citizens here. They're working with middle-aged people here. Thank you, and they're also working with their peers. They're also having a chance to nurture younger ones that are coming on, after them. So just to be in that environment of actually really outside the classroom, really learning with people and working with people and being a crew and a team of a variety of ages and backgrounds is very valuable to them too. We're also teaching them basic professionalism. As every parent knows, teenagers are a little self-consumed. And there are times when they don't necessarily respect what's going on around them. And it takes a little bit of maturing to get past that and to realize what your surroundings are, and that your behavior or your how you're conducting yourself has to be altered a little bit based on your
in the real world.
In the real world, yes. And we actually do train people to respect that, to know that. And to know basic professionalisms and how to behave depending on what your surroundings are. And that's all part of being in this business. We have a lot of fun, but when it's game on, our students know how to play.
Sure. Corinne, I know you've worked here for a number of years, and you've taken it to a different level as a student, and then I believe a career. Can you touch upon some of where you went after you went to high school and you started in college, and what you did and how you progressed a career out of Four Village Studio to some extent?
Sure. And I think it's very much directly tied to my time at Four Village Studio. My first job in television was out at Rainbow in Bethpage, which is a place where a number of Four Village alums have had jobs and continue to have jobs. So it was a great stepping stone into the professional television world. I spent 2 summers working as a master control operator out there. And then I went off to Ithaca College, where I received a full scholarship. And part of that was really tied to my experience in television here at 4VS. So I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity that I had that really turned into very demonstrative example of the effect it's had on
If
my
I
life.
could interject for a moment, when we can take no credit for the enormous amount of A's that Corinne got through her high school career, and for her having the door open to her for a full year ride scholarship. But when she came back from one of those first interviews after talking with the people at Ithaca, when they were offering her the program, or at least checking out to see whether she was qualified, she said to me, they asked a lot of questions about Four Village Studio. And in the end, it might have been the tipping point of me getting in and not getting in. And when she did get in and told me that, I was like ready to cry. It was really a big moment for me and the whole organization.
And what are you doing today?
Today I'm working with Brooklyn Independent Media, which is essentially a part of Public Access in Brooklyn, which is a much larger operation than it is here in Floral Park, but is essentially the same thing. It's a community television station. There are producers coming in, creating their own programming, and I'm part of a professional division that they have. I do arts and culture reporting mostly, so I do sort of all the arts and crafts that are going on right now in Brooklyn, going out and documenting those stories.
So Jim, for someone, a student that would be wishing to join Four Village Studios, what's some of the things that they can expect when they first come in? Like what are some of the jobs to lessen maybe something that may be intimidating sitting before these big lights?
First of all, you can be a blank slate. You don't have to have any experience, just an interest. You may just want to come here to find out if you're interested in it. And I often say that there's 2 sides of the coin of our value here at Four Village Studio for students. One is for students to get that little leg up and that advantage and be able to shine and get a little more experience than their fellow students will get by the time they're entering college and going through college. The other side of it is they can find out very early in life whether this is for them. It's just as valuable to come here if you're interested in television and to find out that, I'm not that interested in television. Better to find out that at 15, 16, 17 than halfway through your college career, where in most programs, even in the best schools with communications programs and television studios, sometimes you don't get any real hands-on until you're halfway through your sophomore year or sometimes into your junior year. So then you're only finding out what it's all about. And if you're finding out maybe halfway through your junior year or when you're about to enter your senior year that maybe this isn't for me, that's a tough conversation to have with your parents afterwards. So we can tell you if you're, we can help you find out if it's for you at an earlier age, and that's another sort of hidden value that we have for students.
Corinne, what are some of the things you'd like to talk to our young audience about in coming in here and joining us? Like this, obviously, sitting in front of the camera tonight. Behind the camera, I see a lot of camaraderie going on here with young folk your age. What's some of the benefits that you have gained from maybe a social aspect?
Sure. I mean, I think it's a great place to hang out. I mean, I was one of the people that was here quite a lot when I was in high school, and really developed friendships that extend to today with some of the students that were, my contemporaries. And it's great even to be here today and see that that's continuing. That's really nice to see that it's kind of the faces change, but the feeling remains the same. And you get down to business, and I think there's a bonding in those moments when Jim might get a little anxious about something going perfectly, and you kind of build a bond that way. I think it's a great way to spend a Wednesday or Saturday.
But again, that's about the real world experience that'll help when you go out in the real world and have to
gotta yell a little.
You gotta yell a little.
It has to be done.
So I would like to, being a trustee and walking through the halls here at Village Hall a lot over the last couple of years.
You're running the gauntlet, as we like to say.
Jim is a person who's always here, and I would like to thank you, Jim, for all the time and effort that you put into the studio, but more importantly, what you've done for folks like Corinne and the people who are sitting here this evening behind the cameras, the skills they've learned and the respect and the benefits that they've drawn from this program over the last 15 years is immeasurable, and it's a wonderful, another wonderful thing that happens here in Floral Park on a daily basis.
Thank you for saying that, Kevin. And actually, it's where my passion lies. And if it's not for the volunteer students coming here, and all of our volunteers, no matter what age they are, we don't exist. We have nothing to do. I can run the billboard, but I can't produce these shows. It's funny. Veronica's the director of today's show. We're pretty much the day-to-day routine business around and running the billboard and keeping things going. But we would not be able to produce shows just with two of us. Without our student crew members and our hosts coming to do this, take part of this, and be brave enough to be on camera, we don't have that whole aspect of the studio, and that's where the training really happens for the students.
So we're just about out of time. If students in the four villages are interested in learning more about the program or coming down, how do they reach out to you?
Well, I just so happen to know that at the end credits,
okay.
you'll see a phone number and an email, and you pick up the phone and give me a call. I get all the messages, or Veronica does on the phone, and we get the emails too. Let us know if you're interested. We'll come down and we'll chat it up a little bit. I'll show you the facility. We'll have a little conversation, which I always call an hour-long conversation, which runs a little bit longer. And from then on in, they're on their own. They can sign up at will. There's no quota for having to be here a certain amount of times. They just volunteer as their schedule allows, and we start training them. The more you volunteer, the more you learn.
Once again, thank you for sharing your time and efforts and talents with the village, and especially for coming down here this evening.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this evening at Community Spotlight, and we look forward to seeing you again. And especially for our younger audience, please take advantage of these wonderful opportunities that exist here in Floral Park. Thank you, and have a good evening.